I have to stand here, getting closer to that equipment. Thank you so much, CASP organizers, for inviting me to present our methods in protein complex structure prediction. So here is the initial system we built for CASP-16. Give a subunit of protein complex. We first search various protein sequence database, including the metagenomics database. Then to get as many sequences as possible, then we use various protein-protein interactions to concatenate them to build the multiple sequence alignments for multimers. One special thing we did here is, for each subunit, we use AlphaFold to predict three-dimensional structure. Then we use search this structure against AlphaFold DB and a PDB to find the structure keys, to generate the structure alignments, and then concatenate them to build the alignment for multimers. This is important for hard targets and also antibodies, antigen complexes. So in total, we get about 50 to 70 multiple sequence alignments. Then we pair with them with various parameters for AlphaFold multimer 2 to generate 25 to 1,000 models per MSA. In total, we generate about 1,000 to 70,000 models per target of 2 models. Then we use multiple complementary metrics to evaluate this method, rank these models, including AlphaFold confidence score, our own 3 deep learning-based model ranking methods, and also the average similarity between each model and other models in the model pool. Then these rankings are used by 5 predictors in different ways to generate the final 5 models. And we consider diversity, make sure their top selected models are not very similar to each other for the top 5 for the hard targets. In addition to this normal prediction pipeline, we also have exceptional handling. In case that if the target is too big for AlphaFold to generate structure, we divide them into overlapped pieces, then build a structure for each one of them, combine them to generate the final structure. Another one is, in rare case, AlphaFold couldn't predict the accurate structure about the template-based model is better. In that case, actually, we build a template model, combine them with AlphaFold models, then build a final structure. We thought this is going to help us do well in the CASP, but 1 week after CASP, our DeepMind dropped a bomb in the field. They released AlphaFold 3. We feel we have to scramble to find a solution to use it, otherwise we'll be lagging behind. So here's our strategy. Given a protein complex, we use AlphaFold 3 model, AlphaFold 3 web server to generate 100 to 7,000 AF3 models. Then we convert the predicted TM, ITM scores into confidence scores, then combine them with F2 models for the model ranking. We also think F3 ranking score is also important, so we also use it to rank models, combined with our ranking methods to select the final 5 models. Another big disruption we need to handle is stoichiometry prediction. So we never did this before, so we have to figure out a solution. So here's the approach. Give each subunit, we search the PDB database to find the templates. Then if all those templates for different chains come from the same complex template, then it's easy. We can easily generate the stoichiometry prediction. Otherwise, we get the possible copies for each subunit. We combine them to generate the different combinations of stoichiometries. For the homomonomer, it's very easy. You just enumerate to A2 to the maximum number of the stoichiometry you can have. Then we generate about 20 to 50 models for each stoichiometry. We use maximum score or average score for these models to score each stoichiometry. Then we select about 1, 2, 3 stoichiometries as our prediction. Then validate against the template-based stoichiometry prediction. Then finally, we make 1, 2, 3 stoichiometry predictions for our final solution. So here is their results. So basically, on 28 phase 0 targets, we actually group them into 2 groups, easy groups. That means difficulty is measured by the percentage of groups that can make a correct stoichiometry prediction. If less than 30% of groups, more than 34% of groups can make a good prediction, it's easy. Otherwise, it's hard. Those are true stoichiometry. This stoichiometry predicted by maximum absolute ranking score. It make 14 out of 25 correct prediction. It's about 56%. However, there's a couple targets because it's too big. We cannot use AlphaFold 3. So in that case, you consider all the 28, it's 50% accuracy. Use average score is going to be lower, 48%. But if you use templates, actually we can get 14 out of 17 prediction correct. That is 82%. But you consider all 28 targets, it's 50%. Then you combine all those information to make a final prediction. The accuracy is 71% for top 1 prediction. And here's how we make predictions. Then if you consider the best of top 3 stoichiometry prediction, actually it's very high, 93%. We only missed 2 of them. One is because it's too big. Another one is because we never thought it's such a big complex. So now I'd like to show you some examples. So here's one for the whole multimer. The accuracy is very high, about 100%. So here's one example, A4, stoichiometry, no template, but we correctly predict this one, use ranking score. And, but only 41% of people actually make this right, 41% of correctness. So here's another one. For this target is correct stoichiometry is A6, but F3 actually predicted A3. We use a template information. We find a template has A6 copies, so we predict A6, correctly predicted. Here's a heteromultimers. Actually, the top one accuracy is lower, 58%. But if you consider best of 3, it's about 90%. Here's one example. Here's no template. We correctly select A1, B1 as a prediction. And here I'd like to show you another example. So here, for this target, is a stoichiometry is A1, B4. Actually, the other 3, we also choose A1, B1. However, we find 2 templates for the 2 chains. The second chain has 4 copies. So we predict A1, B4, so correctly predicted. But also we made some mistakes here. I show you some failures. For this one, is actually is a tetramer, but out of the 3 select the dimer. So that's a mistake. No, this is a common mistake because dimer and the tetramer are compatible. It's very hard for out of the 3 to distinguish the 2. So this is one mistake. Here's another opposite mistake. It's over prediction. Actually, it's a dimer, but we use template information incorrectly, which we predict as a tetramer. So this is from dimer to tetramer failure. And here is, this one actually is stoichiometry is A2, B2, C2. You every 3 to select model, you're going to select A2, B2, C1, has a high score, but actually best correct one is A2, B2, C2. But if we can concede symmetry of this target, we should have correctly predicted. Only 9% of people predict this one correctly. And this one is actually is very big. We never thought it's this big, A9, B18. So we only propose these stoichiometries, and we predict this one, A2, B2, is better than A1, B1, but it's not correct. Nobody predicts this one correctly in the entire CASP, because nobody thought this is this big. Now, summary of the stoichiometry prediction. We think the templates are very useful for proposed stoichiometry candidates, and F3 ranking score is very useful for selecting the stoichiometry, but not necessarily number 1. And combined template base and the F3 ranking score is very effective for predicting the stoichiometry. What went wrong? We failed to resolve some ambiguity in the compatible stoichiometries, particularly the dimer and the tetramers, and do not consider symmetry enough, and constrained by the protein size for the scoring those stoichiometries. Now, with this strong stoichiometry prediction now in the F3 phase 3 structure prediction, counter structure prediction, we have very good performance. Here's a TM score of the number 1 model. Sorry. Yeah. Here's a TM score of the number 1 model. So average score is 0.78. Actually, we have most targets, we have a score above 0.8. Only a few targets score below 0.6. And for the interface score, for most targets, we're going to score higher than 0.6. Average is 0.63. And only a few targets, we have scored below than that. So here is the score of the number 1 score for our models. That's basically, you can see for 20 targets, we perform above average, and only 6 targets we below average. So the reason we do well is sometimes because we use AF2 for nanobody complex, sometimes we use AF3 for antibody, sometimes we use template model, sometimes we use photo-seq alignment, multiple sequence alignment for the targets, sometimes we predict the correct stoichiometry. Sometimes we use divide conquer strategies. And also, why we fail, because sometimes we didn't select the best models. AF2 versus AF3, incorrect stoichiometry, and a special tube-like structures. Now, I'd like to show you some examples. Here, this one is a very hard target, is a nanobody complex. Actually, we use AF2 to generate better models than the AF3. We use these parameters, 21 cycles, no template, and photo-seq multiple sequence alignment. We get a very high score. This score is 2.2. This one, also is antibody. In this one, actually, AF3 works much better than AF2, so you can generate model is almost perfect. And we generate once 500 models and select the best one. This one is very hard target because it has very shallow MSA, and we use fold stick to generate a better multiple sequence alignment. We produce these structure models, use AF2, it's better than AF3 model. So this one is, because we have better stoichiometry prediction, we have predicted the trimer correctly, and actually this model 1 is already very good, but actually the best model is model 3. It can predict these beta tube correctly. So using the, our own deep MSA generated alignment. So here is a model that actually, it cannot be correctly predicted by AlphaFold 3. It's a rare case. It has very rare NC interactions, form a very large interface. But AF2 always try to predict CC interaction or NA interactions. But we notice templates out there can build these kind of interactions. So we build a template-based model, combine these, build a final structure, superpose perfectly with the final predicted structure. We get this score almost 2. Here is a large target. You cannot really predict use AlphaFold 3 or AlphaFold 2, so we divide it into the 2 pieces, overlap, then we combine them together to build a better structure. Here is one that a typical failure. This is a tube structure, it's non-globular, but AlphaFold 3 or 2, you try to build a more globular-like structure, like this. You hallucinate the NC interactions. Even though the interface score is good, but TM score is not good. So that's a failure for us. And we also compare AF3 against AF2. So on the phase 0 targets, top 1 models, you can see actually AF3 has a higher average score 0.72 than 0.7 or AF2. It mostly works better on 3 antibody targets. But AF2 also works better on 2 targets because we use photosync alignment for one hard target, another is nanobody complex. AF2 actually works better. We also compare our number 1 model for our method, MULTICOM human, against AF3. You can see our method has 0.74 versus 0.71. It's better than AF3, mostly because we use AF2 models for some targets, a better photosync alignment, and a template-based model. Similarly, we compare our method against AF2 on those targets. You can see it works better, 78 versus 0.75. And there are a couple of targets like antibody, we use F3 because it works better than F2. Finally, we compare the best of our 5 models against the top 1 models in phase 0. So you can see the best score actually 0.8 versus the top 1 only 0.75. The reason we work better is because best models have sometimes use F3 models, use better stoichiometry prediction, and also better details. This beta tube has been correctly predicted and better chain mapping. But however, it's still very hard to select the best model or best stoichiometry as number 1. So here, what went right? We think use both AlphaFold 3 and 2 to generate models is very useful, particularly for hard targets like antibody. Use different MSA with different parameters, particularly photosync alignment. And every sample parameters are very useful to predict the structures. And use multiple model ranking metrics is good to select the top 5 models, but still it's very important to consider the alternative models when target is very hard, when confirmation is uncertain. And it's useful to deal with failure and limitation of the AlphaFold 2 and AlphaFold 3. And what went wrong? So the major things is we failed to select correct the best models as a number 1 model for some targets. And we failed to generate good, correct models for several non-globular protein structures and a few large targets such as filaments. And here is my conclusion. MULTICOM 4 made exciting progress in stoichiometry prediction by combining template information and AF3 model ranking score. MULTICOM 4 generated correct models for all but a few targets using both AlphaFold 3 and AlphaFold 2. Model ranking has been improved, but still cannot consistently select the best model as a number 1. And the handling failure and the imitation of AlphaFold 2 is very useful. Thank my 2 students who did this work, and also thank you very much for your attention.